Welcome to the Elevated Trader Podcast. I am Dr. Kristin Kidgel.
And I am Tracy Ball. Join us every week as we journey into becoming better traders.
We believe becoming better traders involves elevating our skill, our mindset, and our health. In each episode, we will discuss the current book we are exploring, and we invite you to join us on this journey.
Are you ready to elevate your trading, mindset, and health to the next level? Let's do this.
Welcome back to part 5 of Money Grows on Trees by Jerremy Alexander Newsome.
So greed is really tied in, I think, very much to the other side of this, which is led into chapter 4, which is deserving, right? You've got kind of two spectrums. One is greedy and one is deserving, right? And if you feel that you're greedy, most likely you don't feel like you're deserving. They're very much tied together.
Okay. I can hear you.
Yeah. So the question posed is, how much do you deserve?
Yeah. And I think one of the things he talked about, which he simplified it. So you're showing up at your job. You're putting in 40 hours a week. Mm-hmm. Don't you feel like you deserve to get paid for that? This one I'm fine with. I didn't feel like this one really kind of gave me that weird, ooh, this it's not sitting with me right. I got to address that one. Now the whole different perspective comes into play. And him and I have had this discussion, which is, what do I charge kind of thing. And so I'm not going down that rabbit hole, but I'm getting stronger with my value in myself just in the last few years. So I think that's where people probably have to go, well, it's kind of a mind game. We're back to mind games.
Mm-hmm. Once again, I think that this one really settles into your own self-worth. And if you struggle with having self-worth, you're going to struggle with feeling deserving. I thought it was fitting. He said, no one deserves your love more than you do. Right? No one deserves your love more than you do. So
how do you feel about that one?
That one's a challenge.
Honestly.
It's a challenge for me.
Yeah.
It is.
Me too.
It really is.
And I don't know why. Honestly, like I can't even look at like a parental thing or just hard on myself, I guess. I don't know.
Have you ever struggled with feeling or trying not to feel selfish or thinking that selfishness is a bad thing?
Yeah. I mean, for sure. Right. But I do talk in my office a lot about, and I think I've said it to you, where the quote is, self-care isn't selfish. But that's also another constant battle where we do kind of have to put ourselves first.
It is.
I do ask people all the time, like, what do you do for you?
Right.
That makes you happy.
And I think as a mother, I think it's natural for mothers to, because you've got a couple kids, right?
I got a couple.
Yeah.
Just a couple.
And as a mother, I think it's natural to feel like their needs come first.
Mm.
And I've had many discussions with parents that they feel the exact same way. They feel that their kids come first. And I always have the image of being on a plane, sitting there, listening to them explain all the safety protocols at the front. Make sure you put on your oxygen mask before you put on somebody else's, because you're no good to somebody else if you don't. And I guess it's really a paradigm shift for a lot of people. They need to recognize and be okay with that self-care, recognizing that by doing that, they are becoming the best version of themselves, which in turn ends up helping everybody else. This has been a concept that I have been struggling with my whole life. Because I have tried very hard to not come across as being selfish or not come across as being self-serving. I've never wanted to be that ever. There comes a blurred line of the difference between self-care and selfish. And I think that,
oh yeah. Okay.
Yeah. And I think that line gets blurred when you don't get taught how this or what this is properly. That self-care can sometimes get mixed up with selfishness, and therefore it gets ignored. Not realizing that it's almost a duty to be like to take care of yourself, to take care of that self-care and to do the things that are good for you and to be a little bit selfish in order for you to provide the best version of you to the rest of the world.
I totally agree. So over 23 years of practice, consistently, the majority of my practice is females, like 70%, mostly because in the United States, they run the house and they actually make the healthcare decisions for the family more often than not. And they'll come in and they'll be a mess sometimes. And they'll have, they have not just a job, right? They have all the house stuff too. And we have these conversations, and sometimes you almost have to, well, I have told them, I'm like, if you fall apart, the house is going to fall apart, and then they have that moment, like, yeah, there are things that I need to do. I need to meditate. I need to stretch. I need to sleep more. I need to, whatever it is. But they're great conversations to have. I love having that opportunity for aha moments because they get I say but we all get so bogged down and stuff. And sometimes we just need that person to come in and say something, and it just jogs us a little. And we're like, oh yeah, I just got in this pattern for the last 90 days or 6 months. Thanks for that. I think I'm going to switch this. And that change is hard, right?
How many, how many women have you seen in your practice that are suffering from depression, that are mothers who their kids have now gone off to school? They no longer have that purpose. And they spent the majority of their lives giving, and serving others instead of taking care of themselves. And now all of that's gone and they don't know who they are. They're lost. They've done absolutely no self-care. And yeah, they gave everything and now there's nothing left.
I have a couple faces that have come to mind, but again, those are conversations I'm not scared to have with them. Mm-hmm. What are you going to do? What do you like to do? I don't know. Okay, well, time to figure it out. Because it's important, but you're right. They give of themselves so much that they lose themselves. Mm-hmm. It's really cool to watch them find it.
In your trading, I'm curious, do either of these, greed or deserving, affect your trading?
Yeah, probably, for sure.
Which one?
What were the choices again? Just kidding. So I feel that I've had to work through consistently and figure out early on that there was absolutely a self-sabotage in there. Hands down. I had to figure out what it was. But the first step was figuring out that it exists. But how you figure out that exists is it came across my path. I think I read an article. I was like, oh, that's probably just like me. And then you have to go down the path of clearing that. And so there were some courses and books and articles and stuff. And then you have to keep recognizing it and trying to clear it. And when you see it happen again, you're like, oh shit, I think that's probably, well, you would know because you teach all these people, but that's probably like the number one thing is the self-sabotage. I'm guessing though.
Yeah, I completely agree. I'll tell you the big thing that I had with this chapter, with the deserving part, because I don't struggle with the greed, but I do struggle with the deserving. And if money is an exchange of value, I value the way that I value, or the way that I put value on myself, it's less than what I put value on for everybody else. Okay, so if I was to describe value as far as the human race is concerned in a way that is like currency, everybody else would be like the US dollar, and I would be the Iranian rial, which is at the current time right now, is the lowest valued currency on the planet. So for me, this deserving, I feel like I have to work so much harder to get that same value. So I have to put in more time. I have to just do all that much more. I have to achieve so much more before I get the same value that I think somebody else deserves. Does that make sense?
It makes 100% sense. My question is, now that you can hear yourself say that, do you think that you even care to even change that? Do you think it's a good idea to change?
Oh, absolutely. It definitely needs to change. There's no question that it needs to change, and it's a work in progress. These are all those thoughts. When those thoughts come into my head, those are the thoughts that I have to stop and say, hey, I choose not to believe this. And at some point, that will change the wiring in my brain, and it'll fix whatever the original foundation or roadmap was that got me there. It's going to take time, though.
Well, us just having this discussion about value, and then I said idea, and then I'm sitting here going, if I changed my trading instead of like value-ish theme, wonder if I changed it into, oh, that was a good idea. Oh, that was a bad idea. That's a little easier.
That is that
for me.
Wow. That is a great idea. I love it.
Okay. Let us know. Send us emails.
Yeah.
Comment nicely. So do you want to touch on the homework that he puts at the end of this chapter?
Go ahead.
If you need to jump to it. Page 71. He says, write down how much money you make per year. Write down how much money you feel you truly deserve per year. Write down why you feel you deserve that amount of money. I know that somewhere in this chapter, he goes on and talks about like the exact amount of money you're making right now is exactly around your thoughts around your value and your subconscious thoughts and all of that. And I had heard that before, like a decade or something ago, and then forgot about it. And then that was a good reminder. So yeah, good homework.
Mm-hmm. Excellent homework. We'll see you guys in the next episode.
Thank you for joining us today. For more information about the show, as well as our list of current reads, check us out at www.theelevatedtrader.com.
Remember to subscribe and share if you found value in today's episode. See you next week.